Let's talk about those personal development seminars. Half the people I know in the entrepreneur world have been to one. Some people have been to dozens. A few people I know mainline them like caffeine. The social media arguments are interesting. The people who love these things really love them, rave about them, have their own favourite guru or two who they usually swear can walk on water, are absolutely convinced that everything they've achieved, and some of them have achieved a lot, is completely down to this person. The people who say some famous name's event didn't really have an impact usually complain there wasn't much actual content, just a mishmash of general feel-good stuff and obviousness. And these are also the people who didn't like the hard sell. But when they complain, they mostly do it quietly. Even so, they usually get buried pretty fast under lots of screaming outrage. As for anyone saying out loud that it actually made them feel worse in the long term, would anyone dare? Actually, I would, and I will, because meh to the haters, and some of this stuff can be damaging, especially when it starts messing about with trauma. But I can guarantee you a few people are switching off this video right now, and I'll never hear from them again. There are a few different things happening at these events that can cause problems for you later on. Just by being in the room, you're influenced by confirmation bias. That's when you're looking for information that supports what you already believe and ignore anything that doesn't fit. Then you spend however many hours or days being told that you can be anything you want to be. You just have to believe in yourself and take action. That's selling hope that you maybe didn't have when you walked in there, and it becomes tied up with the person who's selling it. So a challenge to them is a challenge to your hopes and dreams. You're boosted by the energy in the room. You're part of that in-group of positive, aspirational, about to be successful people. And we're social animals. We have a built-in fear of stepping outside of the group, because back in history, being in-group meant survival. You're encouraged to keep agreeing with what you're being told until agreeing becomes a habit and the person on stage has established authority. Then you're turned out into the world, wired up on endorphins and dopamine, ready for all the good things to happen, so long as you keep taking positive affirmative action and believing in yourself. Then life happens, and you get hit with a setback, or 3 setbacks, or 10. Seminars create state change, not trait change. What that means is that the changes they create for you are temporary. If you want them to be permanent, you have to keep working at it. But most of these people don't give you enough support and information to be able to make permanent change. If you don't hit any problems you can't deal with during this short-term happy state and manage to keep up your positive change of mind, happy days. If you're resilient enough to keep pushing through challenges till you get where you want to be, all credit to you. But what happens if not? What if there's some big failure or disaster, or you just get stuck? Self-concept, the way you see yourself, is changeable. The big problem is that your self-concept is strengthened when beliefs are confirmed. But when they're shown to be wrong, your self-concept's undermined. If you went into that room with problems around how you see yourself, you were open to outside information on how to see yourself, and you ran into someone who's a master at creating state change. It's how they got so successful at selling products. The reason you feel so good when you're in there is they're giving you a positive, hopeful self-concept. But when you come out and all the problems are still there, they're just buried under the temporary change. It's they haven't given you something solid enough to deal with the challenges you run into. Your self-concept is going to get chipped back every time you get a setback. You're fighting to keep your new self in place while hitting evidence that all your old worries and self-doubt were valid. What's happening is that your self-concept clarity is getting lower because there's a massive disconnect between what you're experiencing and what you're telling yourself. That's a huge problem, and it's one of the biggest issues I have with some of what's going on in coaching. Reduced clarity is really unhelpful for someone who's having problems around becoming more successful. Clarity is one of your best supports and defense mechanisms. It increases confidence, it ties in with higher self-esteem, it reduces anxiety and depression in response to adversity. And to top it all off, the message you get if you complain that this stuff didn't work is that either it's some failure in you, or you obviously didn't put in the work. So now you have the same problems, but you feel even worse about not having to be able to deal with them. So yeah, I'm happy to throw out the challenge. If you're feeling like a failure because you didn't achieve your goals after some magic bullet event, and you're wondering where your Ferrari is, it's in the garage of the guy on the stage.